Hello, and let me start by thanking everybody for joining us today. My name is Simon Roberts, Senior Vice President After Sales Services at ATS. Joining me today is my colleague Brett Wheelis, Vice President Integrated Services, and our special guest, Oliver Bendig, Partner at Deloitte Consulting. Brett and I are part of the ATS Global Services Leadership Team, and we're privileged to lead an extraordinary team of toolmakers, field service technicians, engineers, and service solution specialists who are either integrated in our manufacturing divisions or within our growing regional network. Additional team members also form part of our dedicated focus around digital solutions, spare solutions, and reliability services. We are collectively a dynamic team of problem solvers that are dedicated to improving customer operations globally. Since I joined ATS, our mission has remained constant: to maintain the highest level of asset performance over the life cycle of our customers' equipment and ensuring an exceptional customer experience. Whether it's a new piece of equipment entering into production or an existing asset, our teams and our solutions continue to maximize our customers' original CapEx investment while strengthening our role as a life cycle partner. And while that mission has been constant, how we deliver on that mission has changed and continues to change as a direct response to market conditions, technology, and most importantly, the needs of our customers. Over the next 30 minutes, we will share how our global services team is continuing to evolve the relationship between equipment operators, equipment builders, and system integrators like ATS, guiding and supporting our customers on their journey to manufacturing excellence, whilst navigating a number of critical challenges. We will also share our vision for the future of industrial services, and talk about the steps we're taking to increase customer value, and also share some key lessons along our journey so far. Oliver will share a powerful perspective on some of the global trends and how he sees the sector in 2030. Following the presentations, we'll open the floor to questions from the audience. On reflection, and as I continue to work with our customers, some of the world's leading global manufacturers, I'm always energized and better informed as we engage their key stakeholders. Each conversation is unique and dynamic. And of course, manufacturing is complex and continues to grow in complexity on many levels. However, some specific themes remain prominent. Skilled operators and technicians are retiring, and suitable replacements are getting harder and harder to hire, to train, and to retain. The regulatory environment is getting more complex. Data-heavy requirements such as serialization, part traceability, once confined to a small number of industries, like pharmaceutical and medical devices, are seeing a much broader adoption. Manufacturing automation systems are increasingly becoming more complex, both in terms of their configuration, their component parts, as well as the way that they operate. At the same time, the world is hopefully emerging from the economic shock that is the prolonged COVID-19 pandemic. Markets are reopening and new opportunities are emerging, but many challenges still remain. Our customers are also embracing the data revolution, using the information generated by their own manufacturing system to drive continuous improvement and improve maintenance operations. Suffice to say, it's a great time to be involved in manufacturing, and I'm incredibly excited about the role after-sales services will play in meeting the challenges and opportunities in the coming years. Let me hand over now to Oliver to share some of his perspectives.
Thank you very much, Simon. Thank you for having me here. It's a very good, great privilege. I would like to talk a little bit about the future of the manufacturing sector as we see it from our studies. And let me start with a few perspectives on the trends that we see. First of all, in the machinery sector, very much we are experiencing today, that obviously, many customers are, looking for capex to opex, and they're looking for reducing capital spendings, and therefore, looking very much on all of their spends, which obviously means that after sales is becoming even more important for industrial manufacturers, and turns that even more than it has been already in the past to the forefront of many manufacturing companies. And this will, from our perspective, remain the same also after the recovery from the crisis. And on top of this, the digital transformation will become even more important in order to drive further customer centricity towards manufacturing companies. And therefore, as a result, what we see in summary is that especially those companies that are reinventing their after-sales business, and they are very close to their customers, will be the leaders in the future world of manufacturing. But also with this, having said that, many of my clients are asking me, will they continue, and will we be still successful in 2030 as manufacturing sector? And obviously, this is not an easy question, and we are all facing a lot of challenges, uncertainties. And I don't want to go into all of those drivers and uncertainties that we all know, but obviously, those trends, those VUCA trends are there. We have to live with them. And also we have to live with the rationality in our organizations, where taking decisions is not easy, and getting the right data is also a challenge. And therefore, it is something where leaders in companies have to decide, what the future will bring. And we can all imagine those scenarios for the future where Asian manufacturers or the tech giants from the US are taking over. And this is something that, keeps very many manufacturing companies awake at night, and they're thinking, what to do about it. This is the reason why we started some time ago, a few months ago, a study in order to understand those drivers for our sector, for the machinery sector. And we used artificial and human intelligence in order to analyze those drivers and come up with scenarios. And what you see here are several of those drivers that we identified in those sessions. And obviously, most of them are, very known and not a surprise to you. But let me still pick a few of them, right? Everybody in our industry is talking about predictive maintenance. And this is, to be honest, it's nothing new, right? If we think back, it started all in 1963 when, Rolls-Royce started with power by the hour. And they did predictive maintenance, and they built it as a business model. We look at microsensors, installing more and more sensors in our machines. We talk about data. Data is more and more becoming relevant. And you can imagine, especially me coming from Germany, data protection, data security is a huge issue. And everybody is thinking about, can I connect my machines? Or is my data still secure? But all of those things are a prerequisite for new business models, for predictive maintenance, for making our after sales more efficient and driving more value to our customers. Other topics that we see a lot is obviously sustainability, circular economy. Those are things that we have neglected in the machinery sector in the last decade, and it's now coming very quickly. And therefore, it is extremely important to look at those drivers. And we took the chance to look at different scenarios that you see here. And let me walk through them, and let me start with explaining briefly how we came to those scenarios and how they differentiate. So there are two axes that we use in order to differentiate. There is the axis where we said, today manufacturing companies are very much developing highly customized machines for their customers. And on the other side, there's the extreme that there's a tendency to more and more standardized, highly standardized industrial products, and also the machines have to become more standardized. And that is something where we have to take a decision where that will lead to. And the other axis that we looked at is, where has the power in the industry? Is it going to be still driven by manufacturing players that are inventing the best machines? Or is it more and more driven by software and technology companies that are taking over and taking decisions or driving decisions? And with those those two axes, we have come up with 4 scenarios. And before I go into the different scenarios, let me say that it is not about that we are predicting a scenario for the future. All of those scenarios have some relevance for the future. And in parts, all of them probably will become reality. And it's up to you to decide what you believe is most relevant in 2030. So if we look at, start with scenario A, and we called it a fragile paradise. In this world, a beneficial political economic environment has enabled European and North American players to stay ahead of the competition by continuously innovating and identifying highly attractive niche markets. On the other side, the Asian competition has been hampered by rising labor costs, and tech giants, mainly from California, enter into the market is slowing down. They have not kept the same pace as we are seeing it today. However, on the other side, the growing trend of smart manufacturing and implementation of Industry 4.0 is creating new value to be captured within the industrial production sector. And disruptors await at every corner, looking to capitalize if traditional manufacturers fail to act. So this is a paradise that continues, but it's very fragile, and we don't know if this will continue all until 2030. Probably the preferred option for all of us, but we don't know if it will continue. Then if we go down to scenario B, and we call it success at the price of transformation. In this scenario, the products are more and more standardized, and standardized in a way that standard machines are coming to the market based on modules, and the customers are asking for those customized products from the top and for those standardized products or machines at the bottom. And since we are on the right-hand side, we are saying that the manufacturing companies are the ones that are still driving the software that enables the machines, and they stay on the forefront and dominate that market. While on the other side, the Asian companies, the Asian competitors are also looking at their employees looking for higher wages, and they lose this competitive advantage. And therefore, the European and North American manufacturing companies are in a very strong position in order to develop standardized and customized machines. If we move more to the left, where the power is moving away from the manufacturing companies, and technology and software and artificial intelligence is becoming more and more important, that is probably the least comfortable scenario for the manufacturing companies, and therefore we called it lost paradise. In this scenario, the tech giants and the Asian players have become dominant in the market. They are defining those products, and many of the manufacturing companies are only producing machines, bending metal on behalf of those other players, those new players coming into the market. You can all decide how realistic that scenario is, but at least there is the risk of that happening. If we move up, still, software and technology is dominating the market, where the power structure is there. But we're talking still, again, a lot about customized machines. Dominated by software, artificial intelligence is key. But what we're seeing is that, technology companies are driving this, but the manufacturing companies remain in a strong position if they work together in order to drive those and dominate this scenario, and use the ecosystem of manufacturing companies in order to be successful. So those are 4 scenarios. And again, please decide yourself, which part of those scenarios you think is realistic. I believe that there's something in all of those. And, important is not only the scenarios, important is what we make with it, right? And what are the initiatives that we take in order to remain successful. From my perspective, the time to do this is now. And let me walk through a few of those scenarios. First of all, it is important. I'm sure all companies, all of you are digitizing core processes, but this is something that everybody has to continue. We have to digitize all of our processes because, if we digitize inefficient processes, then they will remain inefficient if they're digitized. So we have to do this first, make our processes efficient, and then, invest in digitization. Secondly, we have to think globally. Our people are global, our machines are all over the world, and therefore we have to make sure that we really understand the needs of customers across the globe, and make sure that we really have answers for this different customers across the globe. Thirdly, what we have learned, obviously very hard in the pandemic, is that we have to stay resilient. We have to make sure that our supply chains are in order, that we keep pushing, that we work with our suppliers, with our clients as partners, and really make sure that also in situations like we are facing today, we really stay resilient. The fourth one is we have to build in sustainability. It is on the agenda of everybody's sustainability, but also I think that sustainability will become a USP for many successful manufacturing companies. And already today, if you look at those companies that have started to invest in sustainability and green technology in the past years, they are more successful today. Fourth is, you have to build and maintain access to your customers. In any time, it is important, and especially with digitization, where a lot of interactions will be handled by machines and automatically. It is important to stay connected and to understand the needs of our customers, and also to create those interactions with our customers, and don't give it all up to the machines to have them solve all of the problems. We have to, as manufacturing companies, make sure that we better understand than anybody else what the needs of our customers are. And then the next one is we need to put an Asia strategy in place. I mean, it is very obvious that Asian players are challenging us. And if we want to be successful in Asia, for sure we need a strategy how to do this, but also we have to be aware that especially Chinese companies are attacking us more and more in our home markets in Europe and North America. And we need to make sure that we really have a stringent strategy for this. And then the next one is create an ecosystem. There are so many challenges ahead of us that we need to make sure that we work together in teams. And we have to really build an ecosystem of players that have the capabilities that we don't have in our own firm. And we have to make sure that we build this. And last but not least, I think the machinery sector can be very proud of our employees, our engineers, and our highly motivated people. And this is what is differentiating us for many other industries. And I think it's really critical and crucial to make sure that we continue to invest in our people, recruit the best people, and train them and keep them motivated. They have been the asset number one for the last decades for our industry, and they will remain to be the biggest asset for our industry. And therefore, we have to make sure we keep them happy. With this, it is a short overview of how we see the future. Thank you very much for having me here. Please contact me for any question if you want to dig deeper into any of those findings. And yeah, now it's up to me to hand over to Brett, and Brett will share some digital experience through the lens of ATS.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. I appreciate the handoff there. I think a very interesting presentation from Oliver, I think, provides a lot of great context for what we want to talk about here, which is really about the digital customer experience. Oliver talked about the market landscape, and I fully am aligned to a lot of what was shared there. What I'd like to do now is talk about this in a little more of a practical lower level and what this means from an ATS perspective. A digital customer experience, put simply, really starts with the machine and ultimately the enabling technologies that go with it, that provide the connectivity, that provide the data acquisition and the analytics. I mean, that's really at the heart of it. It enables several different applications within this space. If you think about asset management and remote monitoring and service and operational intelligence and predictive maintenance, all of that is really kind of based upon this evolution of the machine and the technologies that are now kind of part and parcel of that. The benefits of these types of technologies and these types of applications in the manufacturing sector are many, but in its simplest of terms, it's all about reducing cost, driving efficiencies and productivity, as well as safety. And really, that is, in many respects, kind of at the heart of kind of the industrial IoT space. So why are we doing this? Obviously, again, there's a lot of emphasis on digitization in this space, and our customers are really requiring it. And I think a lot of the feedback that we receive from our customers, everybody's at a different part in their journey in that digital transformation. Some are much more mature than others, but I think it's pretty clear to us that it is an expectation. Our customers are demanding this, and that we have to be in a position to be able to provide that technology and ultimately be able to provide it in such a way that we give them a better outcome, ultimately support that. And so that is really a big part of the emphasis in this space is really what we're hearing from the customer. Of course, there's a lot of literature out there and perspective from experts in the field, but clearly it's being driven from our customers, and we are obviously looking to help them in any way we can. And much of what you see on here is direct feedback from customers in all sectors that we support. In putting this in a little bit of a practical model, what I wanted to do is just take the chance to kind of walk through a bit of a model that we kind of see how this journey would work in the future, if you will. And it really starts at the design phase and really incorporating some reliability engineering and embedding connectivity in our machines in such a way that relevant information is at the fingertips of our customers or the vendors who are providing it. So if you think about engineering drawings, spare part documentation, technical bulletins, whatever that may be, we want that information to be obviously electronically captured and stored and available for our customers. Once that machine is landed at the customer site, we obviously want to be able to, and the customers obviously want to be able to tap in that through a software platform that's providing real-time performance data that is going to give them insights or actions. That the architecture of that could be cloud-based, or it could be on-site, depending upon the nature and the requirements of the customer. But the ideal state in that future model obviously is to take advantage of the benefits of a cloud environment. And so ultimately pushing that data to a cloud where that data can be stored and acted upon in an automated way through automated fault diagnostics and machine learning, ultimately to give you the analytics you need to make better and more informed information. In an ideal world, we would be able to view some of this information and be able to act upon it in concert with the customers, so that we can see what's going on with those in the operating parameters of that machine. And once we have that information, and in the instances where we need to provide a level of support for them, we can sit there and take that and really maximize getting that machine fixed, whatever it may be, or providing better preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, if you will. So if you can envision a future state scenario where we obviously see that information, working with the customer, we issue a work order, if you will, with all of the relevant material that we see off of that machine, loading that technician up with the additional spare parts that are required for that particular job, and then issuing it to the field technicians that would be on site to go help the customers with their particular problem. Again, with the relevant technical information, the correct parts, and the correct type of technician that we need out there to fix that particular problem. So from there, ultimately, we want to be able to provide that information back to the customer in a kind of an end-to-end fashion, where they have a holistic history, if you will, of that experience. They understand kind of the work order history that exists with that particular machine. They know what the status of ongoing work may be. They see the performance history there. They have the ability to order parts for that particular machine through an e-commerce platform, and basically have complete visibility of that machine and be able to interface with it in the ways that they deem necessary. This is by no means an earth-shattering or new vision. Many OEM manufacturers have a very similar model in place. I think what makes us different, if you will, is really about our machine expertise. We build the machine. We understand the components of it. We understand and the design because we did it. And then, of course, our intimacy with the customers, knowing that machine and our interactions and interface with the customers allows us, I think, a competitive advantage in many respects compared to other players in the space that may be coming at it from a different angle. So I really do believe that is our competitive differentiator, if you will. So with that, I think I'm going to hand it on over to Simon to close this out.
Thanks, Brett, and thanks to Oliver. Hopefully you found our perspectives and some of the lessons learned, our view of some of the trends, and also some of the strategies that we're adopting at ATS to drive value with our customers. We remain committed, and at the centerpiece of our strategy is our customer. As you've seen throughout the presentations today, we're also committed to exploiting the role that digitalization will play in providing that value to the customer. And as Brett mentioned, how we combine that with our unique machine knowledge experience and partner that with the customer's perspective, we're confident we will play an increasing role in the customer's success. We're also very clear about continuing our role to extend our reach, our global reach to all of our customers, whilst at the same time deepening the relationships through active participation, active monitoring of performance, active engagement in terms of opportunities for improvement, and continually really going through that cycle of how we know, understand the customer's challenges and opportunities, how we continually measure and monitor our progress on that journey, and how ultimately we delight our customers throughout the life cycle of our assets. Thank you very much. We look forward to taking the opportunity now to answer any questions you may have, and hopefully you gained some real insights from the journey we're taking here at ATS.